Here's what no one tells you when you start trading. You are not fighting the market. You are fighting yourself. Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself, "This time I'll follow my rules," only to break them 15 minutes later because that one candle looked too juicy to ignore? Be honest, we've all been there. You promise yourself no revenge trades, no impulsive entries, and then boom, you're in your fourth trade of the morning wondering if MetaTrader has a confession booth feature. Here's the paradox, my friend. Trading is simple, but the human brain makes it complex. In this video, I'm going to walk you through why discipline is the ultimate trading superpower, how the market uses psychological traps to break you, and how you can finally turn your emotions from your enemy into your edge. So if you've ever struggled with cutting winners short, moving stops, or just being your worst enemy, stay with me till the end. I promise you, by the time we're done, you'll never look at discipline the same way again. Before we dive in, smash that like button if you've ever broken a trading rule. So basically, all of us. All right, let's begin. Every new trader starts like a motivated soldier, a shiny new strategy, a trading journal, and a motivational wallpaper that says, "Discipline equals freedom." Then, the market moves one pip against them, and suddenly, that wallpaper feels like sarcasm. You see, when there's no money on the line, we all feel logical, composed, and professional. But the moment you put real money in, your brain goes full primal survival mode. It starts whispering things like, "Get out now before it reverses," or "It's okay, just move your stop a little," or "You'll fix it on the next trade." Sound familiar? The discipline paradox is this. Discipline isn't learned through theory. It's forged through emotional pain. When everything inside you screams to break your rules, but you hold your ground, that's when you grow. It's kind of like dieting. You don't build self-control when the fridge is empty. You build it when your favorite chocolate cake is winking at you from the counter. So the question isn't, do you know your rules? It's, can you still follow them when they hurt? Now, let me introduce you to the market's three favorite weapons: fear, pride, and false reward. These are the emotional booby traps that turn disciplined traders into emotional wrecks. Let's start with the first one. Fear, the silent thief of profits. Imagine this. You take a buy trade. It goes in your favor, and you're up $100. You're smiling, maybe even feeling like a bit of Warren Buffett. Then your brain goes, what if it reverses? So you close early, securing a $30 profit. The market then continues perfectly to your target, and you're sitting there like, oh, come on. That's fear. The fear of losing what you already have. It's the same emotion that makes people sell their Bitcoin at 40K before it runs to 60K. Fear tells you that safety is better than strategy. But discipline tells you, stick to your plan. Because if you let fear guide your exits, your winners will never outrun your losers. B. Pride, the ego killer. Now let's talk about pride, or as I like to call it, the I can't be wrong syndrome. You're in a losing trade. It's going against you. But instead of cutting it, you say, nah, it's just a pullback. It'll come back. So you move your stop again and again until your small loss turns into a full-blown Greek tragedy. We've all done it. You're not a trader at that point. You're a hostage negotiator trying to convince your trade to die. But here's the thing. Taking a loss doesn't make you weak. It makes you professional. It's your pride that whispers, if I close now, I'm admitting defeat. But in trading, the only real defeat is not following your plan. C. False reward, the devil in disguise. And then there's the worst one, the false reward. This is when you break a rule and it actually works. You move your stop and price reverses. You add to a losing position and it recovers. Boom! Instant dopamine hit. Your brain just learned that breaking the rules equals success. That's the most dangerous lesson of all, because next time it won't work, but by then your subconscious is hooked. You've become addicted to gambling behavior disguised as trading. So what's the antidote? Simply celebrate rule following more than profit making. When you close a losing trade exactly as planned, say it out loud. That's discipline. That's the win. Because it is. These are the emotional booby traps that turn disciplined traders into emotional wrecks. And then there's the worst one, the false reward. This is when you break a rule and it actually works. You move your stop and price reverses. You add to a losing position and it recovers. Boom! Instant dopamine hit. Your brain just learned that breaking the rules equals success. That's the most dangerous lesson of all, because next time it won't work, but by then your subconscious is hooked. You've become addicted to gambling behavior disguised as trading. So what's the antidote? Simple. Celebrate rule following more than profit making. When you close a losing trade exactly as planned, say it out loud. That's discipline. That's the win. Because it really is. Now, let's talk about regret versus discipline. Choosing your pain. Let me tell you something harsh but freeing. You can't avoid pain in trading. You only get to choose which type. You can choose the short-term pain of discipline, taking that small loss, waiting patiently, doing the boring work, or you can choose the long-term pain of regret, blowing your account, doubting yourself, and wondering why you keep making the same mistakes. Here's a real-life story. A trader once messaged me and said, "Dr. Osman, I followed my plan, took a loss, and I feel bad." I told him, "Good, that means you're becoming professional." Then 2 weeks later he said, "I broke my rule and it worked." And I told him, "Congratulations, you just lost even though you made money." Because profit isn't always a win, and loss isn't always a failure. Discipline is doing what's right, even when it doesn't pay immediately. When you understand that, you stop chasing feel-good trades and start chasing do-good trades. Now, let's move to letting go of control, the real edge. Here's a truth that will set you free. You control nothing about the market. Nothing at all. You can't control the next candle, the next move, or the next fake-out, but you can control your reaction. Let me give you an example. Once I spent 3 days analyzing Euro USD. Everything lined up perfectly. Entry, structure, liquidity, beautiful. I entered the trade, and immediately it went the other way. Did I get mad? Of course I did. I wanted to sue the chart. But then I realized something powerful. My job isn't to be right. My job is to trade my plan. Most traders think their edge comes from their strategy, but your real edge is emotional control. Think of a casino. The casino doesn't care who wins today. It knows that over 1,000 hands of blackjack, it will profit because it has a system. That's how you must think. Be the casino, not the gambler. You can't predict what the next trade will do, but you can control your risk, your rules, and your reaction. The moment you stop trying to control the market and start mastering yourself, you've already won. Now, mastery through patience, the art of waiting. Let's talk about the hardest part of all, waiting. Most traders think they lose because of bad analysis. No, they lose because they can't sit still. The market pays the patient and punishes the restless. When you're sitting there staring at your screen, your brain whispers, "Come on, do something. Take a trade. Don't just sit." But professional traders know that doing nothing is a position too. Patience is not passive, it's power. Imagine two traders. One fires trades all day like a machine gun. The other waits quietly like a sniper. Who wins in the end? The sniper, every single time. I once told a student, "You should only trade your A-plus setups." He said, "Dr. Osman, if I only take A-plus setups, I'll barely trade once a week." I said, "Exactly. Welcome to real trading." Patience is boring, and that's exactly why it's profitable. If you can sit through boredom, you can survive the market. In summary, discipline is your anchor. At the end of the day, trading discipline isn't flashy, you can't flex it on Instagram, but it's the quiet force that keeps you alive when everyone else is blowing up. Discipline is what makes you a survivor. It's what turns chaos into consistency. Every time you follow your rule, you're not just saving your capital, you're strengthening your character. When the market tempts you, remember this: you don't win by fighting the chart. You win by mastering yourself, because your biggest opponent is the reflection staring back at you on the screen. The truth is, the market doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards self-control. So, protect your discipline like your trading life depends on it, because it does. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because more deep dives are coming, not just about strategy, but about the psychology that builds million-dollar traders. And remember, the strongest traders don't conquer the market, they conquer themselves. And don't forget to watch the other videos showing on your screen right now. They'll help you take your mindset to the next level. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.